Hello, it is Diane with Diane's Blue Hearts and Butterflies.com, and I am doing a video to share how I made this other card that we have done for our May local card class that I do. And this idea was cased from Becky Hahn, and she said she was inspired by Terry Gaines. And I fell in love with the idea, the technique, and everything. And it's using the Grassy Grove and the Grove dies. These are in a bundle in the January to June 2022 mini catalog, and they are carrying over into the new annual catalog, the 2022-23 annual catalog, and they are still bundled, so you'll be able to get that one even after the June catalog is retired. I am using one item that is retiring, and that's this New Horizons Designer Series pack. Has a lot of really great kind of watercolory images. Some of them look like scenery backgrounds. Some of them are just kind of watercolory, and they're very pretty. So I was planning, or am planning, to share this idea with those who couldn't come to the class in person. The dimensions will be on my blog for these cards. They do create a trifold card, so you can open it up and then you'll open it up again and have a scenery inside as well. Now I did go ahead and cut out some of the deer. So the main die that we're using is the Grove of Trees, but there are also these two deer that it will cut out. And there is one of these that cuts out the actual stamped deer as well, but I didn't want to stamp the deer. I wanted to create more of a silhouette type shape, and so I used this Grove of Trees and the two deer for this card, and then I used several of the stamps on the inside. Now, to ensure that we got a good stamp, nice crisp image, I did set up the stamparatus to be able to use that for stamping those images. So, and since I didn't have the magnetic platform yet for the new Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, I used just a post-it note to help hold it in place on the front of the card to keep it from moving around. But I have ordered that now, and hopefully it's gonna really save some time and won't use so many of those post-it notes for that. And so let me go through the dimensions and everything you'll need and get that out here. So the kit that I prepared for the ladies was this is a basic black cardstock. It's 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 5 1/2 and folded and burnished that piece. Then there is a piece of basic white cardstock. This one is 4 inches by 10 1/2 inches, so it's a half inch shorter than the black one and a 1/4 inch less wide. The black one is a little bit bigger, in other words. But the way that you're going to put them together is actually like this. So the fold on the black one is to the left, the fold on the white one is to the right. And so that's what we're going to do. Now, this front part is where you would place this Grove die, and you put it where you want it, high or low, wherever you want it. And then, like I said, I just used a post-it note, and then I ran that through the large Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. It's a little bit too wide for the mini, so you have to use the other one. And then the Designer Series paper you're going to want a piece that is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then this will actually, so this one is going to go inside and it's going to fold like this. So it's going to go on the front of this one as it is folded. And you'll just adhere that down. And so let me, in the interest of time, I did go ahead and cut this. I will point out that the die brush, or in the take your pick tool, it comes in a box. I found out by watching France Martin. She had shared that you can actually fit this inside of a plastic pencil box. You can get it at a dollar store or something, especially during school time. And I just had to cut down the ends of the plastic insert. I kept that to keep it in here. And so it comes with one of these extra putty heads. It has another, so there's 2 of those, this part, and then there's this 2 different ends that lock into here. And so one of them is the spatula. If you unlock that, there's the piercing tool, and then you can put that back in, and then you'll lock it back in place. And then there's a cover on there. The other end is the 2 different size styluses. So that's what you get with the main take your pick tool. The putty heads, you can get refills. The other thing that you can get is a die brush attachment, and so you would just unscrew the putty end and you'll screw the die brush attachment into that same spot, and the die brush attachment comes with these foam pieces. I just happen to have an extra wide wood mount stamping case that I put those in and keep those up. So that's what I used in order to get all the little pieces out of here and also out of the die itself. And what didn't come out, I used the piercing tool to take care of that. So I have already gone ahead and done this. You just want to make sure that you have burnished a really good crisp edge into that so that it'll lay flat. And then I'm going to bring in this stamparatus I set up to handle the stamps for the inside left of the fold. And I already made marks on my small grid paper where I wanted it to be lined up. I did that before class so that the people that attended would know where to line this up. And then I wrapped my magnets in some duct tape that I had laying around. And you have to be careful when using these magnets. That comes with 2, and sometimes if they get close enough, they can actually snap together, and the impact can actually cause it to break. So I figured if it does break, it'll be held, at least the pieces will be held together and not just break everywhere all over my room. So I just continued using the black ink. This is the Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I just turn off my light. I'm trying to put something underneath my, let's move this over, put this stamp case underneath what I'm trying to ink up so that it gets an even ink all over the stamp. And I just make sure that I've gotten the tips of it. You don't want to have it too juicy or anything. And then I push this over, and I've heard someone call it giving it a back rub, kind of a little pressure all over. And then you check it if you wanted it to be darker or you missed a spot or something. The great thing with the stamparatus is you can ink this back up and put it down and it'll be in the same spot. And as I mentioned in another video that I did, the stamped chamois, it comes in a solid piece, but I go ahead and cut mine in half. And I mainly do that because I have small hands and it's hard to hold the whole thing. But it's also so when I've got my stamps on the stamparatus, I can actually wash it off without having to remove it. And I can get into the grooves and nooks and crannies with just my finger and the chamois. And I also keep them in a small, or one of these clear cases, so that I can have that to hold it while it's wet and it stays kind of damp more longer. So now I'm going to do the trees off to the side. And put those into here as well. And it looks like it's a good image. So next, let me get this cleaned off. I actually set up another stamparatus for the other side and had it all ready to line up. So I'm going to put the right side of the inside, the right of the fold, and I'm going to line it up with that corner that I marked. And ink this up. You can add any kind of sentiments you want. I figured these would make great guy cards. People that like the nature and outdoors make a really pretty sympathy card. Things like that. So I can now close the ink. I'm going to move my card, and then I'm going to clean this just because I don't want it to sit there. All right, get that out of the way. And we can start putting this together. So I have this piece that opens this way. I have this piece that opens this way. I have the designer series paper and the two deer. If you want to add any other kind of embellishments and, you know, kind of things in the background or whatever, or you want to put your, go ahead and put your, stamp your sentiment in here or whatever, that's fine. So what I did first was I went ahead and adhered the designer series paper. So you can see the back of this is just kind of myriad of greens, and it looks kind of like a watercolored kind of image. Now this is going to have a border around, and you adhere that. Then I'm going to take and flip it over, and I'll add adhesive to the back. Well, this is what you have to be careful with the Stamp and Seal Plus. Sometimes it'll grab that cardstock if it's been kind of broken down a little bit and start peeling it. I find if you get up on the other part where you have some glue and end there on some glue, it tends to not peel as much. but I definitely do not use the Stampin' Seal Plus if I've embossed the paper that I'm trying to add the glue to, because it definitely does tear the paper easier once the fibers are broken down. And again, this one you'll lay in here with the border all the way around it. And then this piece folds over. Now you can leave it like that, or you can add the deer to it. The way that I had added the deer is just with some Tombow multi-purpose glue, and I just added a little bit at the feet of the deer. Do one at a time. And yes, it would be easier to use the silicone mat, but I forgot to bring it over. So this I will just place behind the grove, because I wanted it to be more like they were walking through the grass. And then do the little small one. And add him behind the grass as well. I think I need to do it this way. And then that way you have kind of a silhouette against this background. And then the card is done. It's another very simple card using some designer series paper, a really cute technique, and stamps. And then this one has a really great die that you could put on the front to give some depth and dimension. And so that is what I have. I did, or I do have the measurements for the card on my blog at dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com, and the other card that I made is also linked to that blog post. And I hope that you liked what this project was. If you do want to buy any of the products, or you'd like to select me as your demonstrator to shop with, you can go to that blog and choose the shop button, and it will take you over to stampinup.com, and you'll be shopping with me through my store on there. And I hope that you like everything. If you do, also check out my other videos on YouTube, and I hope that you find some projects that you would like to do that give kind of a wow and a punch. I love being able to share my love of paper crafting with everyone, so I hope that you've enjoyed this, and look forward to being able to share more as I go. Thank you.